Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have returned. You best believe that it's League Unlock. Eric and Mark is back here with us today, and it's a good thing because we are day 4 now of MSI, and it has probably been the most North American day that we've had so far at MSA, and that's saying something.
I'm not going to say it's the best day that we've had at MSI so far. I think you can look for either other moments, other days for the full quality. If you're an NA fan, this was absolutely the day for MSI. This is where it starts. The other ones didn't count. We're only starting from here.
It's a dangerous game if you want to just start with today. Obviously, 1-5 coming into the day for Cloud9. It was a fleeting hope of them getting out of groups at this point. They'd had the close games against Damwon. They'd had the close games against PSG, but couldn't deliver. Only a single win against Pentanet. But they come into day 4, and they start the day off with an incredibly impressive win against RNG. Blabber is, believe it or not, playing at an MVP level. He looks like he's a 2-time LCS MVP. And Fudge on the Lee Sin does it again.
I don't want to make it as simple as here it is. This is the Cloud9. This is what we've all been telling you about. And not only this is the Cloud9 that we've been telling you about from the LCS finals. This is the Cloud9 that we've been telling you about for over a year now. This is what people are looking at with their performance. And it's not just that simple, of course, when you're talking about how it played out and what they were able to do against RNG. But at least in the, a vacuum of this event, of this MSI, of talking about how things went in the play-in stage and how poorly they had started in this Rumble stage for Cloud9, the way that they performed against RNG, how they played across the map, how every individual member performed. This is the peak of Cloud9 that we have been talking about. This is what we've been selling you on why it's possible to get these upsets. While we were talking about it with Damwon, you saw it with them it just barely, and then you started to see the slips of Cloud9. You saw the mistakes. I'm not buying in. I'm not a believer. We're believers again. Everyone's back in on the train after the RNG victory.
And even some of the losses that Cloud9 have had at this tournament, you've seen the glimpses of team fighting in particular, where they've excelled in a lot of these times. It's been the macro movements around the map, or a lot of these games, they've digged themselves such a big hole early on in the game that it doesn't matter if you're that good at team fighting, because when you're up 5 to 10k gold, you can take a losing fight and still win anyways.
Yeah, and when, of course, looking at the weekend, how some of the matches played out and some of the mistakes that led to this being such a dire situation for Cloud9 heading into this match against RNG, absolutely, you can see that there were the positives. There were some signs, but it just came down to these crucial moments, the make or breaks. And it would always break. There would always be a mistake, and it would be of either incredibly embarrassing, nature, whether that's being killed by the Luden proc for Blapper, or if it's going to be something like Zven, just in the positioning around that Elder Dragon fight, where most of the Cloud9 members are healthy. You get the Elder Dragon, there's got to be some way to come out of that fight in a better form.
Not getting a 1k crit from a Gangplank barrel,
Yeah, that's not the answer. But what the answer for the remedy, the answer for North American fans, was the performance overall from everybody. And I want to stress everybody on this Cloud9 roster, because this really was a full-on 5-man performance and 5-man victory, and convincing victory over an RNG squad that had clearly so far been the best of the best at the event.
30 minutes, a 10k gold lead for them, only the second loss on the entire event for RNG. So everyone's riding high. It's looking good. Maybe they can get out of groups. Everything's going to turn around for them. They just got to pick up that win against PGG at the end of the day, and we're looking great for the final day. Oh, record scratch. The PGG game, Mark. They forgot there was another game on the day, maybe? I'm not sure.
Oh, baby. Not the best start in this one, for sure.
You have the incredible win against RNG. It's the most North American thing you can possibly do. You win against RNG, and then you have Pentanet at the end of the day. They're already eliminated from the knockout round. If you win this game, if you're Cloud9 with 3 wins, you're actually looking okay. A decent chance of getting out of groups. It's not dead in the water after this game, but it definitely takes a big hit. And before we flame Cloud9 a little bit too hard, Pentanet showed up. We've seen it time and time again. When you're officially eliminated, you play a little easy breezy, and it wasn't AD Assassins at the mid lane. BioPanther was fantastic on the set. I'm happy they picked up a win and didn't go winless.
This is the NA day that we were talking about, right? You
100%.
wanted to see the very best of the best, and that's what it was against RNG. I'm not going to say the worst of the worst, because absolutely you're right. This is credit to Pentanet GG and them stepping up and them performing. I think that is the most important thing to take away from this one. Absolutely. You better believe that there's some flame, there's blame, all those type of things on a Cloud9, slip up, a mistake, a drop in this match overall to lose. But when you look at the positives and how it played out and what they were doing, I think you're right in partly of the freedom you're allowed mentally and performance-wise when you have been eliminated. We've seen that with various teams, various regions as well. But specifically with Pentanet, we've seen them show up. We've seen them arrive at this event. We've seen them been able to, at various points in their matches against some of these other regions, not just their wins against the Unicorns of Love. We've seen them provide enough of a punchback, enough of a fight that you know that they've got that skill. And if you don't treat it serious enough, this is what happens. And the way that they played through, you have to give them the majority of the credit to get it done.
I'm also going to give some credit to Senna Tomkinch as a bot lane, because we've seen it be borderline perma-banned. This was another example of why, and this is the second example of this double AD comp out of Cloud9 going up against the Senna Tomkinch. It happened earlier against Damwon, and Cloud9 doesn't seem comfortable playing these double AD comps because there's never any 5v5s.
Yeah, there just seems something about the communication with them that is necessary with that type of composition, right? Because you just can't approach objectives or what you want to be doing around the map the exact same way, and it's falling apart in that aspect.
It's always delayed. Someone's TPing late, someone's flanking when the fight's already over.
It doesn't work out, and that is something that we have seen, and unfortunately the execution fell apart in this one. And again, there are lots of things that did fall apart, and it's as North American as possible. We've talked many times about where do you judge NA, where do they fit, are they really a major region? You got to be looking at them that they're able to step up like they did at the beginning of the day, put it all together, take on RNG and take down the best of the LPL. And then they're able to fall flat in their face and lose to the LPL. Like, this is North America, and this is the range of performance.
Yeah, and it looked like they were going to get back into this game for a little. There's the one team fight where everyone's at 50 health. 4 members of PGG are that low. They just can't get the resets, but that leads to a Baron for them. But, on the other side, Pentanet grabs an Infernal Soul, and that's the age-old debate, Baron or Infernal Soul. Well, with Senna and 140 stacks, I'll take the Soul.
When you're able to hit from almost a whole screen away, it's not going to matter. So something else.
But our minions are stronger. Great.
Nah. Don't care, don't matter. Pentanet getting up the GGEZ after this one for that win. And as you said, this is big because this was the chance for Cloud9 to get to that record, to really put some pressure on PSG, to put some pressure on the Mad Lions. And like, if you have a slip up, we're right there. You got another chance in your head-to-heads in the next part. Very grim chance now.
Well, now it's not in your own hands only. Not only does Cloud9 need to go 2-0, but they need PSG or Mad to go 0-2, and then they have to beat them in a tiebreaker. So it's a very tough road ahead for Cloud9. Not impossible, but they definitely shot themselves in the foot with this loss to Pentanet. There were actually other games on the day as well, believe it or not. And if we're talking sheer best quality games, it was probably RNG versus PSG earlier on in the day. You remember over the weekend, PSG had that incredible win against RNG to give them that first loss, and they looked like they were en route to do it again in this matchup. But it's so weird, these RNG games. You feel like the other team's racking up kills, and you're thinking, oh my god, this is over. What is this, a 6K gold lead? And it's sitting at 1,000. RNG just stays in this games that they have no business being in.
and they stay in these games, and it just feels like, you know what, RNG, someone behind the stage has got a mystery bag of fireworks, and they just light one up and say, this is the game, this is the one for us here. You have no idea when that fuse is going to go and when it's going to blow. In this one, yeah, it was a couple of minutes late, but absolutely the fireworks showed up in that late team fight to make things secure for RNG.
Yeah, everything was looking good for PSG. They were playing through the bottom lane. River had some fantastic early game. This was the Lilia game for Wei, by the way, something we haven't seen at MSI, seen it countless other times, but it ends up getting the last laugh because he gets a 5-man sleep basically in the last fight. And this ain't no TSM because RNG's there to follow up.
RNG's not looking for the airport. That's why they're following up on that 5-man sleep. I like that you mentioned the Lily. I think that's something that when we talked about the meta for this event and what we were going to see, one of the specifics was the jungle. We were a little wrong. Mr. Udyr has stuck around a little bit more than I expected. When Mr. Udyr was around, one of the things that people would try to counter with, of course, is that Lilia. Not in this one, but of course, seeing the Lilia in the action and what was able to get that sleep, you're right. That is the big play.
Yeah, and for the Lilia, obviously, it's been Rumble Morgana back and forth has been the jungle pick so far with a little Udyr sprinkled in. So happy to see another pick, whatever it is. But that win clinches knockouts for RNG. Big shocker that they're clinching that one. Still up for debate who's going to be that number 1 seed. The other one vying for it, of course, is Damwon. They matched up against Mad Lions today, and this game, it ended up being a slow-paced classic LCK game. Not Damwon, LCK game to slow things out, but it all started. The first fight in the jungle, Armut kicks Canyon away and saves him on the Lee Sin. Ends up being a 2-0 for Damwon. They snowball that out of control. You got to imagine, and you heard Vedius say this, if that early play goes better for Mad Lions, it's got to be a totally different game.
It's a massively different game, just given the significance of what that caused, right? The effect of that throughout the laning phase and everything else, objective-wise, afterwards, the advantage.
Canyon had free reign after that.
A team like Damwon, the champions that they were piloting, you cannot give over advantages like that earlier on, and let alone, you know, you want to talk about the mental aspect. I think some tilt is certainly involved in that one to try and rebound and wasn't maybe necessarily cooled off fast enough, as you could see in some of the other interactions later on. That would be something in this matchup, but I think that is the best way to examine it if you're a Mad Lions fan, isn't to take too much away from it, not to feel too defeated from something like that because of what you can identify there.
And they also saved the game a couple of times with some heroic base defenses. It actually ended up being a little bit difficult for Damwon to close the game out. They eventually would, in large part to Showmaker having 25 stacks and being deathless on the Zoe.
We have maybe seen individually quite as dominating a performance as Showmaker has put out this MSI in recent memory, let alone an individual aspect, but how much the individual has carried this team. And the team from the LCK of that measure is something to be said about what Showmaker has been doing so far as an individual at this event.
Yeah, you can talk about Damwon as a whole, maybe not looking as clean as people were expecting, but when you isolate individually to Showmaker in the mid lane, he's almost exceeded what people were expecting, and pretty much everyone consensus he was the top mid laner coming into this event.
And one of the fun things about it, right, is that he was talking trash before the event. He was talking himself up to be the villain. He's shown up. He's dominated. This is the type of stuff that Michael Jordan... Villain. This is what Michael Jordan was doing in basketball, dominating. We're getting it with Showmaker right now. You'll love to see some of that flair come through. And again, backing it up with the gameplay, you can't ask for much more.
He followed it up right in the next game against PSG for Damwon. You thought the first Zoe performance was great. This guy had a 4K gold lead over his counterpart, Maple, in this game. He even was bugging out the game because his Rift Heralds were too good.
The best thing is you know, thinking about what Perkz did on the Zoe earlier in the RNG day, and then again knowing Showmaker, the trash talk, and saying, not having it, not letting you outshine me on the day. I'm gonna pick that champion and outshine you with my own individual performance. And look, if you want to be talking about the best of the best, I didn't think that there was going to be better on the day than that Perk Zoe performance against RNG. Showmaker, he takes it. He takes the cake on the day.
He had 6,000 at the end of the game. He had a 6,000 gold lead over Maple. That's one individual has a 6K gold lead in an individual matchup. That, you don't see that ever.
Damwon as a team is scary to think that they would have that type of lead. And then you realize that, oh no, it's not on Damwon. That's a lead for Showmaker. Yeah, you got a problem. And that problem is your Nexus is soon going to blow up.
Yeah, and this game was another great example of Damwon. Every now and then, and we saw this countless times in the LCK, there's a fight around Dragon or some neutral objective where there's just this crazy extended team fight where Damwon somehow loses nobody and gets a clean ace. Their team fighting sometimes just reaches a new stratosphere.
Yeah, and again, Showmaker is the pinnacle of how they perform in that aspect, but in this one, you're right.
Khan in team fights is pretty terrifying as well. Just ask Vic.
I was gonna say, if you're putting it that way, sure, you can have the other aspects of the Damwon team coming through. For me on the day, though, there is no brighter star than what Showmaker was doing in multiple matches for Damwon.
Yeah, and with that, they join RNG. They're clinching at least top 2 now. They finished the day at 7-1. RNG sitting there at 6-2. Last game to talk about, and this, it was supposed to be at the bottom that we talk about Cloud9 and Pentanet as well, because it's just another routine win. But we do have the Mad Lions who, you can call it routine. It was an 8K gold lead at 16 minutes and ballooned to an 18K gold lead in just 24 minutes. But the interesting thing in this was the mid lane matchup, because you had Qiyana Lissandra, Humanoid picking that Lissandra into Qiyana to just completely nullify her existence in this game.
The old Jensen no fun special, my man. The Lissandra coming through.
Humanoid didn't do it because he was scared.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's got to be a difference there, we point out. But the shutdown, the absolute shutdown, no fun zone capability of Lissandra, that was flexed big time in this one. And certainly, I think anybody that has played a champion, whether you've played Qiyana or a champion like her that's trying to do the same thing, Lissandra is the no-no. Either that or Malzahar, you're out. No, I'm taking the 5-10 minute dodge, man. That's not happening.
I just loved coming into this game because, on Twitter and anywhere, this is after the RNG win for Cloud9 that everyone's excited, and then they say, come on, Pentanet, Razor Kowal, take down Mad Lions, help us out for the next one, and everybody's memeing on EU. And then, we fast forward a couple games then.
Well, I don't know what to tell you guys. This is a Cloud9 team that was able to take down the two teams that have clinched, the top dogs in RNG and Damwon.
Only team that's beaten both of them.
But then this is also a Cloud9 that, back in North America, there were a couple losses still, not a perfect record, losing to TSM here and there. What's another North American team, an OPL team taking us down in Pentanet, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much par for the course when we're talking about NA at international events. Imagine if they had to go against the Marines and not Pentanet as that final team.
No, please, no.
Yeah, things would be looking even more rough for Cloud9. But now this sets up. This is day 5. It's the final day of the Rumble stage, and as we mentioned, Cloud9 is not dead, but it's tough sledding for them. Luckily for them, they play PSG and Mad Lions, who are the two teams they're directly vying with for that final spot. They need one of them to go 0-2. PSG plays Pentanet, so hard pressed to see them going 0-2 because they get to that magic 5.
You gotta be punching on the NA blood again, swinging the scale.
But now they got their win, so they're just they're sitting pretty.
There's no reason to full send anymore. They've already visited the volcano. They picked up a win against NA.
Yeah.
Man.
So
this is a regular vacation for them.
So Cloud9 needs to go 2-0 against Mad Lions and PSG, and they need bare minimum Mad Lions to not beat RNG, which, okay, RNG are going to be the favorites in that one. Let's say they beat Mad Lions and everything goes great. They're 2-0. Mad Lions go 0-2. Then you still have to play a tiebreaker, and the script is already written for Cloud9 to get to the tiebreaker and lose, right? We know that's what's going to happen.
I was going to tell you guys that, yes, I know the odds are against us even getting to tiebreakers in the first place. But what we saw against RNG, I am more inclined to believe that that is it, and we can get that again. They've tasted it. They've had the apple juice. Let's get it again, boys. Let's get another fudge sandwich over for the boys at the Mad Lions and PSG. Serve them up some of that Lee Sin. That's what it's got to be. But yeah, the problem is then we got to go to tiebreakers. So not only you got to take care of your own business, which is at least very much in Cloud9's favor, that you do have the two that you're eyeing to try and leapfrog, that you do get at least the matches against them 1-1, and you leave it up to the chance. Pentanet, sure, I think most people, even knowing what they did to Cloud9, are not going to be guessing on them to take down someone else at this event. You got to be looking
not
at
when
that
PSG has been going toe-to-toe with RNG and Damwon in all their matches.
Especially given their level of performance. And then it's the tiebreakers, right? And that's only if we're getting there type of situation with tiebreakers.
NA versus EU tiebreaker, not a good history for NA.
NA versus anybody tiebreakers is not a good history for us, my man. So unfortunately, I'm going to predict Cloud9's not getting out. I will predict that we will get tiebreakers. It's just not going to go our way, guys.
Yeah, I feel like it shifts from 50-50 in a tiebreaker to, like 97-3 in favor of whoever's against NA.
But I will say, for Cloud9 fans that might be, not able to accept their happiness anymore over the RNG win, they're all too upset about losing to Pentanet. They see EU just memeing on them. They don't like it. It's okay, guys. I want you to realize that what is accomplished with that RNG win and looking at the scope of the event for C9, it's at least not 0-6 TSM level anymore. We are past that.
And listen, I know it's a sad positive to look at. Let's say they end up even. 2-8 would be rough, but even 2-6, what they've done so far, you look at some of these losses, the Elder fight around Damwon, the throw against PSG, there's less than 2 plays in a lot of these games that you can look to and say, that doesn't happen. Cloud9, they showed enough positives that they could have been picking up twice as many wins as they've had so far.
And this is at very least a Cloud9 organization and a roster that deserves a chance at redemption. And I mean redemption in the sense of, from whatever lessons you learned from this event, there were lessons that they were denied last year when they were not able to go to a mid-season event, to not able to be tested, not able to be beaten down by the other major regions, to not have a slip-up against a minor region. They didn't have these type of lessons that they need to learn from as a roster, as a 5-man group together. So that is certainly something that I think that they are at least owed that credit, that they will be able to try and cash in upon. Unfortunately for people, that's going to take time, and usually time is not very friendly.
At the very least, it's given enough that you want to see Cloud9 at Worlds. Regardless of how this tournament ends, they've shown enough that you're like, okay, I want to see them again at an international event. A little bit of humble pie for a guy like Blabber, I think, who's been annihilating the LCS for a while and not quite been to the same level, despite the good performance against RNG. International, a different breed than North America, which apparently we need to be taught year in and year out. You think we'd have that in our heads. But Cloud9, see if they can complete the miracle. I'm with you. I think they're dying in the tiebreaker. They're getting to that point and then dying. But that's it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys. As always, thanks for hanging, and we will catch you on that flippity flip.